श्रीशैलेश दयापात्रं धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवं यतीन्द्रप्रवणं वन्दे रम्यरज्जामातरं मुनिं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुज युग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतः तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयः तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरस्य महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं श्रीमते रामानुजाय नमः श्रीमद्वरवरमुने नमः श्री बालधन्वी महागुरवे नमः. We have come together in this forum to mutually get to know, understand and learn about the secrets of this universe, and Shri Bhagavad Ramanuja Siddhanta Prachara Sabha has requested Adiyan to have a series of upanyasas which would go up to 4 parts. So the first part would be the tattvas or the secrets of the universe. Having born in this material realm in this material world, we all would be having a few questions. What would be the purpose of this life? What would be the purpose of this birth, right? In order to answer such questions, that what would be the purpose of this birth and what would be the purpose of this life, we'll have to rudimentarily understand a few things, right? The first thing would be the secrets of this universe. We are all a part of this universe. We are all sitting in this universe, eating, sleeping, living. We think that we are living. Yeah, whatever, we are breathing, we are perspiring, we are earning, we are working in this specific universe, right? So in order to know the purpose of this life and birth, our life and birth, first we'll have to understand what this universe is. So the first part of the series of these upanyasas would be the secrets of this universe, which would later answer the question, the purpose of our birth and the purpose of this birth. So let's start with the first part of this upanyasa series as the secrets of this universe, or the tattvas of the universe. The tattvas, the secrets of the universe. So what are tattvas? What would tattvas mean? Tattvas would mean, tattva on a very high level would mean the truths. The truths we can translate as the secrets, because the tattvas or the truths are not told directly to all the people available in the world, and it's not easily available to all the people in this world, right? This world is divided by caste, creed, religion and cultural, geographical differences. There are a lot of differences. We are divided continentally. There are multiple continents, right? North America, South America, Asia, then we have the Pacific. So there are various continental differences, geographical differences. Then we have our racial differences. There are lots of differences in that aspect. So in order to justify the heading as the secrets of this universe, the content that we are talking right now, it is not easily accessible and available to the caste, creed, religion, gender, age and geographical differential people. So there is confinement of this secret of the universe. So we call it the secret of the universe, which is nothing but the truth of the universe, right? So in order to understand the truth of the universe, we need to understand the tattvas according to Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, which is based on the Vedas, right? So what would the secret of the universe consist of? It basically encompasses three tattvas, which is the Chit Tattva, the Achit Tattva and the Ishvara Tattva. The Chit Tattva or the sentient Tattva, the Achit Tattva or the non-sentient Tattva, and the Ishvara Tattva, which would mean the super sentient Tattva. The Chit Tattva or the sentient Tattva would mean, what is sentience? What is sentience? The sentience is the ability to know and understand, to comprehend, to process. that's not what the Upanishads exactly translate. Adiyan is trying to make it in a way to make understand the population who are listening to this this forum, right? So I've come to understand that this forum has students, this forum has elders and working professionals. It is a combination of everyone put together, retired professionals, working professionals, and students. In order to cater to everyone's understanding and needs, Adiyan would like to pick up examples and do the explanations in a way that everyone would understand, and Adiyan would try to do justice to it with Ramanujacharya's blessings. So, starting with the tattvas, the first is the sentient tattva. What is sentience? What is sentience? So, Adiyan has this mala or this bead, this chain. Can this chain hear what I'm talking? Can this chain hear, register, and process what I'm talking? No, right? Can this ring hear, register, and process what I'm talking? And after processing, can it act on what it has processed already? No, it cannot, right? So this is a non-sentient tattva. This is a achit tattva, achetana. So this is a non-sentient tattva. This is a non-sentient tattva. This body is a non-sentient tattva, which does not have jnana, which cannot comprehend, which cannot comprehend, which cannot register, which cannot process, which cannot be the cause of an action, right? So a non-sentient tattva is an achit tattva which cannot comprehend, which cannot register, comprehend, process, and be the cause of an action, right? Be it a table, a chair, a cupboard, a car, a bike, this chain, this cloth. All these are non-sentient tattvas. Next we could talk about the sentient tattva. So this lip is moving. Whatever is getting articulated out of my mouth, whatever is coming out of my mouth, it is based on the process of the information which is happening in my mind or my brain, whatever you would call it. Adiyan doesn't like to point out nitpick right now. So however you would call it, my brain, my mind, my thought, whatever it may be, right? So this intelligence which is processing this information, which is coming out as articulation, it needs some processing. So there needs to be some processing which has to happen inside. And whatever I've heard already, whatever I've experienced already, not just through this birth, through various births, right? So those things put together, it is coming out as articulation right now in this moment. So whatever is responsible for this articulation, this processing, this thought, and the storage of this information, that could be possible only with the help of a chit tattva, a chetana tattva, a chaitanya tattva. That is just the sentient tattva. So this sentience is present in the spirit. So spirit has chaitanya, spirit has sentience. So spirit is sentient. So this body, this Yatindra Pravana, is a combination of a sentient spirit having this body, right? A grown body with this eyes, nose, lips, mouth, head, hair, this shape of the face, this body, the skin tone, the intonation, the voice modulation, everything put together. This body along with the sentience, the spirit, the sentience combined spirit along with this body makes this Yatindra Pramana Tattva, right? So this is the living tattva, the sentient spirit along with this body, which can be called as the Atma along with this body. The Atma along with this body. So we have come to know the non-sentient. The body is non-sentient. This cupboard is non-sentient. This mobile phone is non-sentient. This chain is non-sentient. All these are non-sentient tattvas. So these non-sentient tattvas and the sentient spirit which is articulating through this non-sentient tattva, that is the Atma or the spirit which is inside of this non-sentient tattva. So the non-sentient tattva holds this sentient Atma or the spirit inside of this non-sentient body, right? So non-sentient spirit, non-sentient world, non-sentient cupboard chair. So we could call that non-sentient prakriti. Non-sentient prakriti or non-sentient matter. It is this cupboard, chair, table, body, the five elements. All these are non-sentient matter, right? This is the first tattva, non-sentient tattva. Next would be the sentient atma or the spirit, right? The spirit or the sentient tattva, which is called the chetana. The first is non-sentient prakriti, which is the achetana, achit tattva. The second would be the sentient spirit, which has chaitanya, which is called the atma, which is the spirit, right? The third tattva would be the super spirit or the super sentient tattva, which is the Brahman. So Achet, Achit, Chit, Ishvara. Ishvara tattva or the Brahman. The Ishvara tattva is the super sentient tattva. So Adiyan is able to talk. This Yatindra Pravanan is talking. He has a limited ability to give his voice, to have his voice articulated in a specific frequency and a specific intensity, right? The voice is being modulated and articulated in a specific frequency and intensity, which would reach only a specific distance, and the sound would fade away already, right? But the super sentient being, he can infinitely make his voice articulate in an infinite frequency to an infinite distance, right? This is just an example. So this sentient tattva could comprehend an object in front of this mobile phone. I could comprehend this mobile phone in front of my eyes in a specific distance. As this mobile phone is taken away from my eyes to a specific distance, as it goes far, far away from my eyes, this Yatindra Pravanan, the body which holds the spirit of Yatindra Pravanan, cannot comprehend the existence of this mobile phone. So up to probably 500 meters or maybe 100 meters or 50 meters, depending on the ability of the specific body which holds this specific spirit. It varies from person to person, animal to animal, bird to bird, worm to worm, right? So it varies. So the ability to comprehend the existence of an object in front of it, right? So it varies. So the ability is limited. So the ability of a body holding a spirit which has sentience, which could comprehend an object which is in front of its eyes, it is limited, right? It could be eyes, it could be nose, it could be voice, it could be the tongue, it could be the tactile sense, the sense of touch, right? Yeah. So these sensory organs, so the sensations, these are called indriyas, right? So the Atma, which could sense or the sense and later comprehend through these senses. So the ability of the Atma or the spirit which has sentience, the ability to sense is limited for this Atma. But for the super sentient object, for the super sentient tattva, the entity, not an object, it's an entity. So this body is a non-sentient entity made of the Prakriti. So it holds a sentient spirit, which is the Atma, which has sentience, which has the ability to comprehend. And there would be an entity which is the super spirit, which has super sentience, whose abilities are beyond our imagination, whose abilities are infinite and unlimited, right? So Adiyan could talk for 1 hour and my throat would get into a state of pain, right? I would run out of energy. And Adiyan could could sense the smell of cooking of vegetable at a distance of 50 meters or maybe 100 meters. So these are the limit. So my senses of my nose, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of sight, the sense of touch, the sense of hearing, all of these within this Prakriti, this non-sentient body, with this sentient spirit, the ability is limited. It has a specific capacity. of seeing within a range of 100 meters, hearing within the range of 100 meters, tasting this much temperature of food. When the temperature increases above a specific temperature of 100 degrees, that the sense of taste doesn't work. Similarly, when the food that is being tasted goes below a temperature of 0 degrees, the food cannot be tasted. So there's a range of seeing, of smelling, of hearing, of tasting, of touching, right? So there's a range of sensing. There's a range of sensing, and there's a limitation. It is not unlimited, right? The capacity to sense. But the super sentient, super spirit, the Ishvara Tattva, his abilities are unlimited, and he doesn't have a range of operation. He can taste above 100 degrees and below 0 degrees, right? He can see beyond 100 meters and within 15 centimeters. Adiyan cannot clearly visualize the palm without blurring effect, without the palm, the lines on the fate line and these lines on my palm being blurred out. Only if it's far off from a range of 15 centimeters, the least distance of distinct vision, which varies 15 to 25 centimeters depending on the abilities of a person's eyes. It's 15 to 25 centimeters, 25 centimeters approximately. So if it goes nearer, Adiyan cannot visualize the lines properly. It has a blurring effect. So Adiyan can visualize this palm only within a range of 25 to 25 centimeter, starting at 25 centimeter, ending at 1 meter. If it's within 25 centimeters, it becomes blurred. If it's beyond 5 meters, it becomes blurred. This is the ability of a sentient spirit which is inside of this non-sentient Prakriti body. But the super spirit can visualize anything beyond 1000 light years. It can visualize anything beyond 10,000 light years. It can visualize celestial objects. It can visualize even at this distance, right? So Adiyan can visualize this palm for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour. Then if there's no energy, my eyes, there is a limitation of Shakti, ability, energy for my eyes to visualize this palm. But the super spirit, its energies are unlimited. It is Sarva Shakti. It is not confined. Its energies are not confined. So the range of operation is not fixed, and the energy of operation is not confined. Everything is infinite for the super spirit. For this spirit, this sentient spirit stuck inside of this non-sentient Prakriti made body, Achit Tattva, everything is limited, right? So now we have, on a very high level, we have had rudimentary understanding of Chit Tattva, Achit Tattva and Ishvara Tattva, right? Next, we'll try to understand what the secret of this universe upholds. What this universe is made of. What is this universe? It is space. According to Western science, it's space, right? So, according to the Vedas, the universe is the body of the Supreme, the Ishvara Tattva, the Brahman, the Supreme or the Parabrahma. The whole universe is his body. So this Chit Tattva, Achit Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, all of these put together constitute the Sharira or the body of the Parabrahma, right? So Adiyan's finger is my finger, is also a part of my body. So this finger constitutes this body, right? The finger listens to me, right? It's a part of my body. So this finger makes this whole Yatindra Pravanan as a whole body. So the finger is part of my body, and the finger is also a whole by itself. It's a finger. It cannot operate properly without the connection, if this finger is cut off, if this finger is amputated from this body, it cannot function properly, right? So this finger is connected to the body, but it is also a finger by itself, but it is also a part of the body. Similarly, the Achit Tattva and the Chit Tattva are part of the Parabrahma, the whole universe, which is the Brahman, the Supreme. It is a single entity which consists of three entities, the Ishvara, the Achit Tattva, and the Chit Tattva. So this finger is Yatindra Pramanan's body, but it is physically part of my body. This finger, this forearm, the whole arm, the neck, the nose, the tongue, the lips, the eyelashes, the eyebrows, all of these are part of my body physically. This nose and the body is part of the body. It is the same, but functionally it is different. The eyebrows are responsible for a different function. The eyeballs are responsible for a different function. The fingers are responsible for a different function. The forearms, the wrist, the arm, the shoulder, the neck, all of these, which is part of the same body are functionally different. Similarly, the universe consists of Chit, Achit, Ishvara, sentient, non-sentient, super sentient, spirit, super spirit, nature or prakriti. Chit, Achit, Ishvara. Chaitanya Chit, Achetana Prakriti, Paramachetana Ishvara. So this is what the universe is made of, right? Just like how the finger, the wrist, the forearm, the arm, the shoulder, the neck, all of these are part of the same body, but they are functionally different. The super spirit has unlimited energy, unlimited range of operation, right? The non-sentient prakriti, it can act as a tool in this operation and process. The sentient tattva, which is the spirit, has a limited range of operation and limited energies of operation, right? Just like how we saw right now, Adiyan can see from a distance of 25 centimeter up to 1 meter, right? Adiyan cannot see celestial bodies with this eyesight. This eyes helps me, this eyes through the sentience inside of me, which is inside of the spirit. The sentience is the jnana. So the jnana, the sentience or the chaitanya, through the spirit, through the eyes, is able to see this finger from just 25 centimeters to 1 meter. Beyond 1 meter it cannot see. Within 25 centimeters it cannot see clearly. But the super sentient, the Paramachetana, Ishvara Tattva can see unlimitedly. Adiyan's Yatindra Pravana's eyes, Yatindra Pravana's Atma, which has the jnana inside of the Atma, cannot see this finger for more than 5-10 minutes or 1 hour. Depends. It has limitation in energy for it to visualize. But the super spirit can operate unlimitedly. This is a very basic level or difference between the super spirit and the spirit. Yeah. So we have seen the three differences, and the universe consists, just like how this body consists of this finger, nose, lip, eye, eyebrow, hair, eyeball, nose, nostrils, beard, ears, how this body consists of these parts. Physically, these parts are part of the same body, but functionally, each part has its own operation. The thumb cannot do the job of an index finger. The index finger cannot do the job of a thumb, right? The thumb is very important. It is the Uttama Purusha, right? So without the thumb, the hand, the Karanyasa cannot happen. Karanyasa, the activity of these 5 fingers cannot happen without the thumb. So the thumb has its own functionality, the index finger has its own functionality, the middle finger has its own functionality, the ring and the pinky finger. All of these 5 fingers have their own functionalities, separate functionalities. Even though physically they are part of the same palm. They're part of the same hand. Similarly, the anganyasa, the angas, the arm, the shoulder, the neck, the nose, the eyes are part of the same body of Yatindra Pravanan's body, which acts as a house for a sentient spirit which is sitting inside of this Yatindra Pravanan's body, right? So, physically the universe is a whole, but functionally it has a spirit which is sentient, the Prakriti which is non-sentient, and Ishvara which is super sentient. Now we've come to understand Chit, Achit, Ishvara, all of them belong to the same entity as the Brahman or the universe, but physically they are the same entity, but functionally they are three different entities. The Chit, Achit and Ishvara, right? So, Adiyan is this body, right? Adiyan is this body. This is Yatindra Pravanan's body. When someone asks me to fetch them a water bottle, I'm going to fetch it. I am fetching it. But when I'm fetching it, it's my fingers which is fetching it. It's my arm which is fetching it. It's my shoulder which is fetching it. Right? It's my thought. It's my thought. It's my energy which is acting, which is my thought which is translating into an action using an energy, the Shakti, right? In Western science, you can call it nervous system, whatever. Let's not deep dive into that. So, this action of giving the water bottle is done using the thought, using the energy, using the arm, using the hand. The thought is from the mind. The mind uses the Chit Tattva, Chaitanya, the sentient Tattva, which has the sentience, the ability to know. It's the Jnana. It has Chaitanya, right? It gives the bottle. It helps in giving the bottle. So, this arm, which helps in this action, is part of this body. It is, so when I say this is my body, the arm is also part of the body. So this body, I am the body, but I also own the body, right? I am this arm, I am also this arm. When I say, when there is a roll call in my school, is Yatindra Pravanan present by the class teacher? Yes, ma'am, I am present. So I am present, right? So the whole thing is I or me, but when I am raising this arm which is part of the body, I own this body. Similarly, the whole universe is a single entity which is the Brahman. The Brahman also owns the universe, right? I am this body, I also own this body, right? The body listens to me. Hence, I own this body. Does it mean that since I own this body is separate from me? No. Since I have ownership over this body, does it mean that body is a separate entity? No. I am this body, I also own this body. Similarly, the Brahman is the universe, he also owns the universe. So, the ownership can be defined using a term called Vibhuti. Vibhuti. The Supreme owns this universe, which is his body. Functionally, physically it's the same, but functionally it's different. Right? Three entities that we've already seen. He is the universe. He is the universe. The Brahman is the universe. But he also owns this universe. Right? Just like how I am the body, right? On a very rudimentary level, I am the body, I also own my body. Because my arm, my shoulder, my neck, my nose, my mouth, everything listens to me. And I am the lips, I am also this lips, I am also the nose, I am also the arm. I also own the lips, I also own the arm. Similarly, the Brahman is the universe, physically, functionally, he owns. Physically, my body consists of my arm. But functionally, I own this arm because this arm listens to my body. This arm listens to my body. But physically, the arm is part of the body, so the arm is also the body. Similarly, the Brahman is the universe. Physically, functionally, the Brahman owns the universe, right? He owns the universe. He has ownership over the Prakriti which is the Achetana non-sentient Tattva, and the Chetana Tattva, the Chaitanya Vishishta Tattva, which is the sentient spirit. The super spirit functionally owns the non-sentient matter and the sentient spirits. Am I clear now? The super spirit functionally, physically, the whole universe is single. It's the Brahman, right? Just like how Valmiki, how like in Shri Ramayana, Jagat Charvam Shariram Te. The whole universe is his body, right? So the physically it's a single entity, but functionally the supreme is a separate entity which owns the sentient. There are infinite number of sentient beings, and there are infinite matter which is non-sentient, which is Prakriti. So the super sentient entity owns the infinite number of sentient beings and the infinite amounts of non-sentient matter. Are we clear now? So now the supreme is the universe itself physically, but functionally it is, physically it's the same, but functionally sentient, non-sentient and super sentient. There is a variance. And functionally the super sentient owns, just like how this head, this brain owns the arm, just like how this brain owns the ability to talk, my tongue, just like, yeah, right? Similarly, the just like how a microprocessor inside of a control processing unit owns the what? The input output unit, the memory, right? The arithmetic logic unit and the control unit put together is the central processing unit, right? Just like how the control unit and processing unit put together is the CPU, it owns the input output units. It could be a printer, it could be a keyboard, it could be a monitor, it could be a speaker. There could be various input output units, right? And the memory. Similarly, physically everything is put together in a single CPU. But functionally they vary, right? Similarly, functionally, the universe is a single entity, which is the Brahman, but functionally they are different. Just like how a processor has various functionalities. And it also owns, just like how a control unit is responsible for doing the operations, the architect, to make the operations in an architecture in between the arithmetic logic unit and the memory and the input output. The control unit plays a major role. It takes the help of arithmetic logic unit, it takes the data from the input unit and process it using the memory and takes it out through the output unit, right? So the control unit is like our head, it's like the brain, it controls the body, it owns my body, my brain owns the body. Similarly, the supreme or the super sentient owns the Prakriti, the non-sentient, and the sentient Chetana Atmas. Are we clear? Yeah. So there are two properties. There are two things that the Supreme owns. The Nitya Vibhuti. The Vibhuti is the thing that is being owned. Property of the Supreme. Nitya Vibhuti and Leela Vibhuti. Right? We will dig deep later into it. On a very high level we will understand, since the time limit is given in a very limited scale to us. So the Nitya Vibhuti is a place where things are eternal. It doesn't change. Right? So I have this beard. In another month, the length of the beard, the hair follicle will help this hair grow longer in a few weeks or few months. So the time changes. Time brings days and nights, and which adds up to weeks, which adds up to fortnights, which adds up to months. and years, and the length happens, and the hair becomes gray, right? So this happens through time. There is no eternity. It is subject to change. It is subject from an initial state to a final state, right? So now I'm sitting. If I'm consuming fruits and vegetables, I'll have a sleek, slim, slender body. If I'm consuming lots of fats, if I'm consuming a lot of junk food, just deep fried foods, this body becomes fat. It becomes huge, right? So it is subject to change, the frame and the shape of the body, right? So I'm talking right now in this specific tone and pitch. This intonation will become, now it's a bit treble. The frequency is in a specific frequency. As I'm talking for a few moments and a few minutes and hours, the intonation will become bass. The frequency will decrease, because specific sets of muscle groups in the vocal cord would have been engaged already, and they'll become sore. So my vocal column will use other sets of muscle groups which are responsible for articulating or modulating in other sets of frequencies which are lower, right? So those muscle groups will work in a later stage of time, when these muscles become sore already, right? Nothing, this just fluid deposition, that is muscle soreness, right? Yeah. So these are subject to change. So the property of the supreme are subject to change or subject to no change. This dhoti, this veshti, this cloth which I'm wearing, when I'm going outside, there is pollution, and the color is subject to change because of dust and dirt particle accumulation or deposition on this white cloth. So it becomes grayish white. It loses its original white color, right? And this Thiruman which is there at the beginning of the conversation was pure white. As talking or speaking is an exothermic reaction, it involves some thermodynamics. I'm expending energy, and there is heat which is expended, and heat also produce, when the heat comes out, it through the skin pores, it comes out as water, which is called a sweat. And when there is water deposition or accumulation on these white, it loses its purity. The pure white becomes an impure white, right? It becomes a grayish white. So this white is subject to change. So the supreme has ownership over two parts of the universe. One is the nitya vibhuti, the other would be the leela vibhuti. The nitya vibhuti is a property or a place which is being owned, which does not go through any transformation, and there is no subject to change. There is no subject to change. So we have this cloth. On the festivity of Pongal, Makara Sankranti, there is a bhogi. We burn this cloth. This cloth, which is made of cotton, burns into ash. So the initial state of this cloth is cotton made cloth, which is woven using a machine in a factory, right? Or whatever, either it's handmade, it's made by a professional who makes it with a tailor, or whatever you would like to call him. In Tamil we would call him a nesavali. Kuyavan is a potter. We would call him a nesavali, right? And the twine in some Sanskrit it's called tantu, and the oath of prota, the zigzag, the matrix like movement, the row and the column, the vertical and the horizontal and vertical fashioned movement, oath of prota, movement of the tantu, the twine, the cotton derived twine makes this cloth, the horizontal and vertical. That is called a nesavali. A tailor does this action, and he produces this cloth. So the initial state was a twine. Because of this action done by the tailor, it produces this cloth. So this is the next state. So the initial state was a twine, which gave this cloth, which is a final state, right? So the cloth did not exist, right? It was twine. It was in a state of a twine before. Now it became a cloth, right? So what happens is that when we cut this cloth with a scissor, there are loose ends of twines. When we try to remove the twine comes again. It comes back to the shape of a twine. So whatever the tailor did, an action, a horizontal vertical matrix like movement to join this horizontal vertical twine to give it a cloth, it's called a patam. Tantu Sayyoga. It gives patam. So on cutting it with a scissor and pulling out the twine is we get back the twine. So there is an initial state of twine, intermediate state of cloth, and again final state of twine. So state A is twine, a yarn, right? A yarn, a ball of cotton twine, cotton or wool, whatever it may be. And on the process of stitching, it becomes a cloth. State A with the process of stitching gives state B, which is cloth. State C on the process of cutting and pulling it off, on the process of cutting, gives the state A again the twine, which can be brought back into a cotton ball. Starts with cotton ball, state A, goes into intermediate state of cloth B, state C, which is again a cotton ball. So the twine is neither created nor destroyed. It takes various states, right? Similarly, the universe is neither created nor destroyed, right? It goes through states of changes. But there is a part of the universe which does not go through the state of change, which is the eternal universe or the Nitya Vibhuti. Nitya is it doesn't go through a state of change. State of change is measured with respect to time. So this cloth last month was a ball of cotton. This month it is a dhoti. Next month on cutting it will become again a ball of twine. So the first month it was a ball of cotton twine. Second month it was a dhoti, it was a cloth. Third month it is again a ball of twine, cotton twine. But similarly, the universe goes through the cycles of states of creation, sustenance, and destruction. It is neither fully created nor destroyed. It just goes through states of changes which are called as creation, sustenance, and destruction. But there is a part of the universe which does not go through this creation, sustenance, and destruction, which is called the permanent or the eternal part of the universe, which is called as the Nitya Vibhuti, right? This Nitya Vibhuti is eternal, is infinite in volume and space. It is called as Vaikuntha Loka. Let's talk about that later. So we have an eternal world, eternal part of the universe, which does not go through these transitive states of creation, sustenance, and destruction. So just like this permanent, eternal, unchanging, time independent universe, there is also a part of the universe which goes through states of creation, sustenance, and destruction, which is time dependent, which is also another part of the universe, which is also infinite, which is also very huge, right? So what does this part of the universe hold? What does this part of the universe hold? The eternal universe consists of the supreme Vaikuntha Natha, Paramapada Nacha, where he sits on Adishesha with his Shri Bhumi Neela Devi, and he has his eternal servants who are neither created nor destroyed, just like Adishesha, who was neither created nor destroyed, or to talk in terms of reality, who didn't go through the phases of creation, sustenance, and destruction. Adishesha, Vishwaksena, Garudalvar, Tiruvadi, Hanuman, Shri Devi, Bhudevi, Neela Devi, and there are infinite number of entities or beings at this eternal abode of the Supreme who do not go through the cycles of creation, sustenance, and destruction. Right? So they are always eternally present without going through these phases and cycles. So they are called Nityatmas. They are called eternal spirits. They are called as Nityatmas. So the eternal abode, the eternal place is called Nitya Vibhuti, which consists of Nityatmas. Ananta, Garuda, Vishwaksenadi, Mahalakshmi, Shri Devi, Bhumi, Neela Devi. These people. And it obviously consists of Vaikuntha Nacha, the Lord of Vaikuntha. Vaikunthe tu pare loke, Shriyasardham Jagatpatihi, Aste Vishnu Rachindyatma. He is called Vishnu. Shri Mahavishnu, Shriman Narayana, Shri Mahavishnu, Aste Vishnu Rachintyatma, Bhaktaihi, Bhagavataihi, Saha. Vaikunthe tu pare loke. It's an eternal world. Shriya Sardham Jagatpatihi. Where Jagatpati, Shri Mahavishnu is present over there along with Shriya, along with Mahalakshmi, Shri Bhu Neela Devi. Aste Vishnuhu Achintyatma Bhaktaihi Bhagavataihi Saha. He is present there along with his Ananta Adishesha, Garuda, Vainateya, Vishwaksena, Senanacha, and there are a lot of other people, right? So this is the Vaikuntha Loka. This is the truth about the Vaikuntha Loka. This is the part of the universe this is the eternal part of the universe. And we have come to know what the eternal part of the universe consists of. Next, let's go to the non-eternal part of the universe, which is called the Leela Vibhuti, Samsara Vibhuti, which goes through the cycles of creation, sustenance, and destruction. Unlike the eternal abode, which does not go through the processes and cycles of creation, sustenance, and destruction, this specific part of the universe, which is the Leela or the Samsara Vibhuti, goes through the cycles of creation, sustenance, and destructions. Just like how the eternal abode consists of the Shriman Narayana in his as a Vaikuntha Natha, along with Mahalakshmi and his consorts, sitting on the Adishesha, surrounded by his Nitya Suris, surrounded by his eternal servants. This Samsara Vibhuti or this Leela Vibhuti consists of Baddhatmas like me. Baddha or Bandha would mean bondage. Baddhatmas are bound souls who are in Bandha, bondage. So Baddhatmas are bound to this samsara, in the samsara vibhuti. So these Baddhatmas are bound in this samsara vibhuti, which is the vibhuti or the part of the universe owned by the Supreme, which is subject to sustenance, creation, sustenance, and destruction. The people living over here are called, the people present in this world are called samsaris, baddhatmas. Adiyan is explaining on a very high level. So these samsaris who are bound in this bondage in this material universe, in this samsara mandala has infinite world eggs, right? So the supreme, whose body is the universe, there are infinite world egg like universe who are created every span of a moment. Infinite universe are created. In the same span, infinite universe are dissolved. Just like every moment, in a moment a universe is created, infinite universes are created, and in a moment infinite universes are dissolved. Just like how when we drink water, we drink it and have it in our mouth, we can spit. When we spit, just like that, is just an analogy. The Supreme doesn't spit through his mouth, he does it through his sankalpa, through his thoughts. That can be understood in later sessions, in a very, this is very high level. Let's not dig deep into it. This is just for these sessions are for initiating people into reality of this world. Just like how we have water in our mouth, we take water. Just like that, the Supreme dissolves the universe into him, into his body, and we spit the water. He creates the universe just in a moment of thought, in a span of moment. It doesn't take like efforts, like for us to make a sand castle, we have to bring in the sand, make some efforts, use our muscles, use our muscle groups, use the pectoralis major, use the deltoid, use the bicep, tricep, use the forearm, use the wrist. We use these muscle groups, right, to bring in the sand in a beach. This is just to make a sand castle. But the Supreme doesn't require these muscle groups, the calories that I'm using to burn, the food that I had consumed before to burn these calories and make the sand castle. The Supreme doesn't do any of that. He just does it with his sankalpa shakti, by his manifestation. Now we have, right, the power of manifestation. The Supreme manifests this universe in a moment, in a span of moment. Not just a universe, infinite universe. Just like how there is a multiverse, the Supreme manifests multiple universes, multiple world eggs in a span of moment. Right? So there are multiple infinite universes that are operating parallelly. He is the source of operation. How? He himself is the universe for which we need to understand. So we saw about the eternal world and the non-eternal world. The eternal world is there. It is not subject to time and change. It does not change depending on time. But the non-eternal universe, or the Leela Vibhuti or the Samsara Vibhuti, consists of the Baddhatmas, which are subject to creation, sustenance and destruction, which the Supreme manifests in a span. Right? He manifests an egg, a world egg, which has a Prakriti Tattva inside. From the Prakriti Tattva comes the elements, the Panchabhuta, the space, which is the ether, space, air, water, earth and fire, right? Prithivya, Tejas, Vayu, Akasha. These are the 5 tattvas which comes from the Prakriti Tattva, which is inside the Brahmanda, the world egg. There are infinite eggs like this, right? Yeah. So the Supreme manifests in a span of moment infinite world eggs. Inside of the world eggs, there is this Prakriti Tattva, with which the 5 elements are manifested. From the 5 elements, the world is created. So if Yatindra Pravanan has to make a sand castle, he needs sand. He cannot pinch a layer of flesh or muscle or bone from his arm and pluck and just tear this flesh away and make a sand castle, right? He can only probably amputate this arm and make a castle made of flesh. I can only make a flesh castle. I cannot make a sand castle. And it is not possible for me to remove my own hand and make. So, if I have to make a castle, I can be an intellectual cause, right? I can be a what? Nimitta Karana. With my sankalpa, with my manifestation, with my thought, which manifests using all of these tools and instruments into a sand castle, right? So the intellectual cause for my sand castle on a very high level is Yatindra Pravanan. For a castle built by this Yatindra Pravanan, by his thoughts, which manifested into a sand castle. So a sand is not part of my body, it is different. But my thoughts manifested into a sand castle. So my thought is part of my intelligence. So Yatindra Pravanan is the intellectual cause of this sand castle, right? Similarly, the universe, which has the sun, which has the moon, which has the Mars, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and other celestial bodies, are products just like the sand castle, right? Just like how Yatindra Pravanan made the sand castle using sand, which is not part of the body, will the Supreme go elsewhere to make Saturn as a planet? The Saturn is icy, right? It's very cold. Does Supreme go somewhere else to collect some ice cubes to make a Saturn as a planet? Does Supreme go elsewhere in search? So I would go in search of sand in a beach. In Mumbai, in Juhu, in Chennai, in Marina, in Bessie, I would go in search of a beach. I would go take a bucket of sand and make a sand castle with my shovel, right? Would the Supreme go elsewhere and in search of ice to make Saturn? Would Supreme go elsewhere in search of lava to make sun, to make stars? Will Supreme go elsewhere in search of natural gas to make Jupiter? Because Jupiter is a red hot gaseous, it's not hot. Yeah, sun is hot. Jupiter is a gaseous giant, right? Mars is fiery and it's fiery. Mars is fiery, Jupiter is gaseous, Saturn is cold, right? Sun is also fiery, right? So does the Supreme go in search of ice, gas, fire to make Sun, Saturn, Jupiter? No. What he does, he takes it from his own body, right? For which there is a concept called Abhinna Nimitta Upadarana Karanatvam. The Supreme alone has this ability in this universe. No one else has this ability in the universe to be both the material or the material and the intellectual cause of a product, of a result of an action. So an action has a result which could be a product which needs a material and an intellectual cause. For me to make a sand castle, I need sand, which is the material cause, and I need my intellect to make the sand, right? I need to imagine the shape of a castle. I need to bring my hands, do these actions. So use the instruments, my hand, my palm, my arms. So these are the tools and the instrumental cause. Yatindra Pravanan is in intellectual cause to make a sand castle. The sand is the material cause, right, to make the sand castle. My arms and my palm are the instrumental cause to make the sand castle. Intellectual cause, material cause, instrumental cause. Upadana karana, nimitta karana, sahakari karana. Right? Upadana is material. Nimitta is intellect. Sahakari is instruments or tools which assist the intellect and the matter to transformate or transform it into a product. So, my hand is a tool or an instrument which assists my intellect using the sand as a material to give a sand castle. Similarly, the Supreme doesn't go for fire elsewhere to make sun or Mars. He doesn't go elsewhere for gas to make Jupiter. He doesn't go elsewhere for ice to make Saturn. He takes everything from his own body. The five elements come from Mula Prakriti. The Mula Prakriti comes from Karana Udakam. The Karana Udakam is inside the Andabhitti. The Andabhitti is the wall of the world egg. The world egg came from his mere thoughts. He didn't go elsewhere to fetch matter to make the world egg. It came from him. It came from his body through his thoughts, right? Just like how a spider would spit the matter for the web from its mouth and weave the webs and live in the web for some time and take back the same fluid. When it comes outside, it's in the form of a web, not fluid, right? When it goes back, it's so inside of the spider, it's fluid, it's web fluid. When it comes out, it's not fluid, it's web, it's the web itself, right? Similarly, the Supreme uses his own body as the material cause for this universe. So that ability of the Supreme is called Abhinna Nimitta Upadana. So the cause of this universe is the same, Supreme. The material cause of the universe is also Supreme. The intellectual cause of the universe is also Supreme. Right? So the part of the universe which is not eternal, which is samsara vibhuti, the one which goes through the process of creation, sustenance and destruction, is made by the Supreme through his thought, from the world egg, through the prakriti, through the elements, and then everything happens. Right? I hope everyone is clear by now. Right? Yeah. I'll try to wrap it up in another 15 minutes. What else the universe holds. So the Supreme creates everything. So this world egg has multiple worlds, right? It has Bhur, Bhuvas, Suvar, Mahar, Janar, Tapas, Satya. There are multiple worlds. Atala, Vitala, Bhuloka, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Tata, Talatala, Patala. 7 upper worlds, 7 lower worlds. There are 14 worlds above 7 and below 7. Bhur, Bhuvas, Suvar, Mahar, Janar, Tapas, Satya. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Tatalatala, Patala. Below the Bhuloka. So there are 14 worlds. So each world has its own nature, right? Just like how Antarctica would be cold. The Amazonian jungle will be cold and will be rainy. It's a rainforest, right? And a Sahara desert it's a desert. It would be hot and dry and hot. There are also cold deserts, right? In Siberia, right? In Tanzania. And in the tropics we have India, the Indian Ocean. India is part of the equatorial belt. It's part of the tropics. So it will be very hot and humid. Similarly, these 14 worlds have their own nature. And Amazonian rainforest, according to its nature, according to its vegetation, according to its seasons, its surrounding, its environmental factors, the creatures that are the creatures that evolve, the creatures that are born, the creatures which can survive and thrive in that environment vary from the ones that are in the cold deserts, from the ones that are in the hot deserts, from the ones that are in the tropics, from the ones which are in the rocky regions of the Vindhya ranges in Balochistan, right? The creatures, the animals that vary, right? A bird would be in a place where there is a lot of water, vegetation. There would be rats in a specific region. There would be cobras, right? There would be reptiles in specific region. Similarly, according to these 14 worlds and its nature, its qualities, the habitants, according to the habitat, the habitants, the habituation, the habitants, the inhabitants of these worlds vary. The Bhuloka has different set of habitants, living beings. Similarly, the Bhuvarloka. Similarly, the Suvarloka. Similarly, the Tapassatya Maharjanas Tapassatya Loka. Similarly, Atala Vitala Suta Sula Atala Vitala Sutala Rasatala Talatala Patala. Understood, right? Yeah. So now we have understood there are 14 worlds inside of each world egg, right? So now we've understood the cause of the universe. The cause of creation is same. The material cause and the intellectual cause is the same supreme. The supreme and the world, the supreme has the single entity, supreme has super is the super spirit, the spirit and the non-sentient prakriti, the matter. But functionally, all three are different. Physically, they are same. Functionally, the Supreme owns these two. The Supreme, but the sentient spirit and the matter, Prakriti, cannot own the Supreme. But the Supreme Super Spirit owns these two. It has ownership over these two. And the ownership is seen through two sets of the universe, the Nitya Vibhuti and the Leela Vibhuti. The Nitya Vibhuti is eternity. It is not subject to change. It is not subject to change dependent on time. But the Leela Vibhuti or the Samsara Vibhuti is subject to change based on time. The Nitya Vibhuti holds Mukta, Nitya Suris, Nityatmas like Ananta Garuda, Vishwaksenas and Mahalakshmi and Paramapadanatha. The Leela Vibhuti holds bound souls like me in this samsara, like a dog, a cat, myself put together. And now, elaborating on the samsara Vibhuti, the samsara has 14 worlds. Depending on the environment and the habitat, it has different inhabitants, right? These inhabitants has separate different qualities, right? So next we'll have to understand the inhabitants, the leaders of these worlds. The inhabitants, the leaders, their natures, and what decides the habituation of these places. How does the Supreme decide that Yatindra Pravanan has to be put in Bhuloka? How does the Supreme decide that Yatindra Pravanan has to be put in Bhuvarloka? How does the Supreme decide that Yatindra Pravanan has to be put in Swargaloka is Suvarloka? And how does, based on what, does the Supreme decide that Yatindra Pravana has to be put in Satyaloka or Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Patala Loka? Based on what the Supreme decides Yatindra Pravanan has to be put in Patala Loka. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala. I think Talatala is ruled by Mahavali Chakravarti, right? The Charitra we know in Vamana Avatara. Similarly, each Satyaloka is lauded by Brahma, the four-headed dude whose responsible for a creation. So now we have come to understand what this universe is made of on a very high level. In the next session, so this session talks about the tattvas, right? What the universe is made of, what the universe is, the reality and the truth about the universe, and what it is made of, So, which is the secret of this universe, right? In the upcoming sessions, we will understand the operation, how this universe operates, why the universe operates like this, what is the purpose of this universe, right? So now we have seen tattvas. In the next 4 sessions, we will see the hita and the purushartha. The purushartha is the purpose of this universe. And the hita would be the process of the universe. Yeah. So Adiyan would like to end this talk, this session, this forum where Adiyan had the opportunity to get to learn certain things by means of sharing, by means of having the opportunity to articulate the contents that have gone inside of me. Adiyan would like to request all the participants in this video to please bear with me in case of any technical, verbal, or attitude based mistakes or errors. That since I'm a human, I'm subject to errors. So my attitude, in case of my attitude, or the words or the meanings or the technical content that are being given out, if they are filled with mistakes or errors, Adiyan would request people who are listening to this, or Lord Ramanujacharya Yatiraja, to correct me. And Adiyan would like to finish this session. The first half of the session, where Adiyan finishes the talk, and now the session is open for interaction and questions from the other side, where people who are listening to this could raise some queries or questions, or they can give me some constructive criticism or feedback or commentaries on what Adiyan has spoken right now. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimad Varavaramunaya Namaha, Shri Baladhanvi Mahagurave Namaha. Adiyan Ramanuja Dasan. Over to the host for the QA session. Adiyan Ramanuja Dasan, Shri Perumbhudur Yatindra Pravanan.